Today I wanted to do something a little bit different than what I normally do on the channel, and that's kind of go over an anniversary of a game that's very near and dear to my heart, and that's Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed. This is a expansion to the original base game of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 that features a whole new cast of characters and a whole new scenario, story, and everything. It was truly a special moment for myself as someone who's been playing the Xenoblade franchise now for a decade plus, and I felt that it'd be pretty cool to talk about it. And if you haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles yet, maybe this video will inspire you to check out the series. So today, at least the time that I'm recording this video, it's April 25th, and it is the official 1-year anniversary of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed. Now, this game follows the descendants of the main cast from Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and fan favorites like Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and Rex from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 to fight to find the truth and free themselves from the Endless Now. While not very long in its main campaign, the game has plenty of content. I spent over 50 plus hours playing the game, and is a combination of everything that Monolith Soft has learned from Xenoblade Chronicles 1, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and the DLCs that they've done with Future Connected and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torn of the Golden Country. To me, it creates the absolute best battle system in the series history. And I understand that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Xenoblade 3 with the heroes and everything, like, you can really talk about so many different battle systems. Xenoblade Chronicles X, like, there's a lot of great stuff, but to me, Future Redeemed put together everything from the series and put it together in a package that was so digestible, not necessarily streamlined, but so great. When you put together all the pieces of everything that they've learned, it creates just a euphoria while playing it. You want to continue to play. You want to fight over and over. Nothing feels lame or nothing feels bad. It's just high quality overall from everything that's in the game. The UI, the fonts, the leveling, the skill system, customization. I just found it to be absolutely superb. I love the art in the game, the music, the graphics. It was just something that was super special and near and dear to me. Now, this game is something that I would also dub a VSQ. So this is something that I talked about with Metaphor Refantasio. If you haven't seen that video, make sure you check it out. I'll have a link to it in the description. Some of you guys probably missed that video, but a VSQ game to me is a game that has the vibe, the sauce, and the quirk. And what that means is that the vibe, it has the tones, the look, has everything that just feels cool. It feels great to go through. It looks very fun to engage in and play. The art looks slick. It's not a game that looks corny. You can tell that the people have passion in what they're doing. The sceneries, the environments, it has all of that. If you go through the game, you think, oh my gosh, this is not necessarily a full, big, huge Xenoblade game, but they've taken all the different design elements from what they've learned from Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3 and kind of put them all together, and even a little bit of X, but mainly the main trilogy, and put them all together to where it just creates an incredible vibe. We know how great the art is in Xenoblade Chronicles. We know what Monolith Soft can do and what they stand for. The aesthetics in this game are just so good. They're so good, and the art just comes together, and the graphics are really good for what they're working with. Now, obviously, they're not the greatest graphics of all time or anything like that, or even the best graphics on the Nintendo Switch. There are games that look better than Xenoblade Chronicles, but I would say that based off of where they started with Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and even where they were with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 with the resolution and all of that, they were able to make a very nice engine that displays the look of the game more truly to what they would want and more consistent with its resolution and performance in Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Future Redeemed. So I was very happy about the vibe in this game and the look of it, which is above what we saw with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, for example. Although Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has an incredible vibe. Now, the next thing here, we talk about the sauce. Obviously, this game has more sauce than you can even like do with, man. Like, there are so many things that I felt that was cool with this game. And I love the UI and the leveling. That is a huge part when it comes to the sauce and the gameplay, the mechanics. You're constantly getting new things. You're leveling up. You're finding out new combinations, new fusion combos to do, new different things with the chain attacks, new different abilities and skills. I mean, yes, a lot of people just went through this whole game doing double spinning edge blades with Rex, but at the same time, there are so many different classes and depths that you can pick from and combinations that you can do. And with the extra content in the game, you can spend a lot of that time testing it out, all the different big enemies that do take a little bit of time, kind of damage sponges, but it's like the funnest damage sponge that you'll ever meet because the combat is so exhilarating. And I know that's not the case with everybody. The game, it's auto attacking, and then you have your skills that you do. But once you actually understand the characters itself, that's why I always say it's very important to understand the characters, who they are, what they do. And when you combine that with the mechanics in the game, and you combine that with the chain attacks customization, it does create a very fun battle system that takes a little bit of time to get into, but when you're in, you really feel like you have control, that you can have a lot of fun customizing your gameplay experience, and it creates a unique battle system that you just don't see other games do. You just don't see in other action RPGs or other titles out there. A lot of elements from other action RPGs or from MMOs or from other turn-based games, but all put together with their own unique Monolith Soft spin. It really does create something that's just super saucy. That's just incredibly saucy and very, very fun to play. And the last thing that I talk about with VSQ is the quirk. The game is very quirky. The story is incredible. It has a lot of weird things inserted into it where you don't know what's happening, but then later it kind of all comes together. It has games, if you beat the game, that ties back to Monolith Soft's other works outside of the Xenoblade series. It has so many things with that quirk that makes you build anticipation to see what happens. You're being transported to certain areas. You're seeing certain things. Obviously, there's the past. How was the world created? Why is the world the way that it is? Why do people only live for 10 years before they die and fade away with their homecoming? Why are there constant battles over and over? There's so much intrigue. There's so many things happening. And with the combination of Shulk and Rex from Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2, plus elements from Xenoblade 3, all put together, you add in the family element from what we know with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3, Shulk and Rex, and their offspring, and that's directly in your party. It creates the emotional quirk that I just love in gaming because family is so important to so many people. So when you emulate that with characters that you've known for a decade plus or over half a decade, and you kind of put it all into the accumulation of a story that has supernatural elements that spans thousands and thousands of years, it creates that quirk and that intrigue with the story that I haven't been able to match. I mean, the only time that I can think is stuff like Chrono Trigger. There's been games like Mass Effect. To me, there's a lot of games that have incredible stories over the case of like a very long time, or in the case of Mass Effect, multiple different games that have strung it together this well, that has spanned thousands upon thousands of years. And I think that for me, this is the best. They've been able to string together multiple games over the course of decades in real time, but tens of thousands of years in the game time. They've been able to put it all together to a satisfying conclusion. Not everything, because there will be another game, which we're going to talk about when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles 4. We're going to talk about that in just a bit. But they've been able to put everything together to where it's just so satisfying with the story, and it keeps you pushing through. Which is, once again, I'll always say this to new people trying to get in, you have to be invested into the characters, you have to be invested into who they are, and you have to understand the story. You have to probably watch breakdowns or the analysis of the stories afterwards because they are complex. But if you get caught up, it truly is the best story for me, at least. So all of that stuff was awesome. But what's next for Monolith Soft? This is something that we've been talking about on this channel for years now. It seems like I've been talking about this for so long, but I think that Monolith Soft has a lot on their plate. Obviously, Monolith Soft, they have multiple different sections of Monolith Soft in terms of teams, a lot of teams that help out with Nintendo's other games, which is awesome. It's good to help out with other games because they are a first-party studio for Nintendo, subsidiary officially, but also technically first-party. So they have that, but they've retained their structure, like with their team leads and with their president and all of that. But they have their team that's dedicated to their new IPs, dedicated to the next Xeno, dedicated to their next big titles that are coming out. Now, I've talked about this before when it comes to Monolith Soft and Nintendo. They are their go-to hardcore gamer RPG type of development studio. Nintendo originally purchased them because they wanted someone who could make that Final Fantasy style, that big RPG that the GameCube and Nintendo systems were lacking, and they got them for next to nothing. They proved themselves with Xenosaga, they proved themselves with Baten Kaitos, and many other games. So Nintendo decided to pick them up all those years ago. And I think that now at this point, they've kind of transitioned not only into Nintendo helping out with their bigger titles like Legend of Zelda, Splatoon, Animal Crossing, so many different franchises, but they're their go-to to show off what their next system or what their system can do with a type of big RPG. We saw it with Xenoblade Chronicles 1 on the Wii. We saw it with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. We saw it with Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U. We've seen it with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. They are by far one of Nintendo's most impressive developers with what they get done with the manpower and size. It's not like there are 1,000 people that are working there. They do incredible work. So I think that they are prepping and getting ready for their next game on the Nintendo Switch 2. I think we pretty much can already put that out there. They are going to be making a game for the Nintendo Switch 2, and it's going to be shown off somewhat early in the life, because for the last number of generations, that's what they've done. If you look at the Wii U, Xenoblade Chronicles X, that was shown only a few months after the Wii U launched. If you look at Xenoblade Chronicles 2, that was shown before the Nintendo Switch launched in January of 2017 at that press conference. They wanted to show what the system is capable of and who they have making these type of games. So I do think that Monolith Soft will have something ready for us to see. I think it's going to be a brand new IP. I think that they're going to kind of go in a little bit of a different direction than what we've seen with Xenoblade, but they will circle back over to Xenoblade Chronicles 4 or Xenosaga at some point. That is definitely in the works. I think that when you look at their docket for what they want to do with the Xeno franchise going forward, which they've already stated, there's been some people trying to say that they don't want to make Xenoblade anymore or Xeno's done after this. And no, that's not the case. They never said that. They actually said the opposite. They want to see Xenoblade continue and they hope that it will, and they're looking for it to continue. But I do think that they have maybe something new that's coming up that can kind of loosely connect to Xenoblade. I'm not really sure. People bring up, and I've brought it up multiple times, some of that concept art, but we don't know if that's actually a real game or what happened with that or anything. We don't know where they're going to go with their next title, but I feel that whatever they end up doing, it's going to end up being absolutely incredible. So I'm very much looking forward to what Monolith Soft has for us, because they always make incredible titles and have done a great job for decades now at this point. So it's going to be a lot of fun whatever Monolith Soft comes up with next. So what are your thoughts on this, guys, when it comes to Xenoblade, Monolith Soft, the anniversary? What do you think they're going to do next? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch and RPG videos right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.